Hi guys! In the last lesson video, we learned how to write down equations of sinusoidal functions when a graph is given. In this lesson, we would learn how to write down equations of sinusoidal function when a problem is given in the form of words. Let's read the question first. A sinusoidal function has an amplitude of 2 units, a period of 180 degrees, and a maximum at 0,3. Represent the equation in two different ways. So they want us to write down equation in two different ways. We'll first write on what is given to us, and we are given amplitude is 2, time period is given to us as 180 degrees. We see a max point at 0,3. Let's use this information to turn this into a graph because we see a max at 0,3. So that means if this is 0 and this is 3, I'm going to make my max for this graph. My amplitude is 2. That means if I go 2 units down and I reach 1, I would see my equation of axes. Why is this so? Because my amplitude is the distance from the max point to the equation of axes. That's the definition of amplitude. If you don't know that, watch my video for lesson number 1. Now at 1, we will see the equation of axes. So we can say that equation of axes is equal to 1, or we can say C is equal to 1. If amplitude is 2, means when you go from 1 to 3, you see a max. When you go from 1 to a negative 1, you will see a min. Since you make your graph from the max point, because your max point is at 0 and 3, and after max point, the next point that you make is a mid, then the next point you make is a min, the next point you always make is a mid, and the next point you make is a max again. This full cycle is completed in 180 degrees. That's what this time period means. This is how we turn this problem into a graph. Now our goal was not to turn the problem into a graph. Our goal is to turn the problem into an equation. So for writing an equation, they want equation in two different forms. So we'll write on one sine equation and one cosine equation. Let's say we start with the cosine equation. So our parent cosine transformed equation looks like this. We need to find out A, we need to find out K, we need to find out D, and we need to find out C value. We know A is 2, so we'll sub that A as 2. Our parent function is cosine that we're using. K we do not know yet, so we'll put it as a blank. D is decided on the basis of the parent function. We'll put it as a blank for now. C we know is 1. Now to find out the K value, we know K comes from the time period. So we would do 360 divided by time period. As we know time period is 180, we'll put T as 180 and this would give us a 2. So the K value will be a 2. To get the phase shift, as you have learned in the previous lesson video, that phase shift is the distance from y-axis to the start point. We will consider this as a start point because I'm considering my equation as a cosine function, and cosine function with a positive means my start point is a max point. So I do not have any distance from y-axis to my start point, so that means my phase shift is a 0. That's my first equation. Let's find the second equation for the same graph or for the same information given, and let's write this second equation in the form of sine function. This is how our sine transformed general function equation looks like. As we learned in the previous video lesson, that the two equations for the same information or for same graph will always have A, K, and C same. So these are the things that we'll just fill up first. So we have 2 sine, K is also 2, x minus D plus 1. Now, because our parent function is a sine function, we go back and check where is the start point for our parent sine function graph. And we see our start point is at a mid. If it goes up, we'll consider A as positive. If we take the start point as a midpoint and it's going down, we'll consider A as negative. Coming back to the question, our start point has to be a midpoint. So if I take this as my start point, from this midpoint, I'm going down. Going down means my A has to be negative. So I have to put a negative sign in front of A. And my phase shift is everything from my y-axis to the start point. Now I need to find out what is this value going to be. Since I know my time period is going to be 180 degrees, and I also know that these points are always seen when we divide the graph into 4 equal parts, or when we divide the time period into 4 equal parts. So when we divide 180 by 4, The first point we see is a 45 degrees. Second point we see is at a 90. Third point we see is at 135, and fourth point we see is at 180. So that means in this case our phase shift is going to be 45 degrees. So all we have to do is just write down this equation as -2 sine 2x minus 45 plus 1. This is our second representation of equation for this particular question.